Steven "Twitch" Boss wasn't just a dancer, he was a force of joy and light. Known for his unforgettable moves on So You Think You Can Dance and his magnetic presence as DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, Twitch became a household name, embodying positivity and resilience. But beneath the surface of his iconic smile, there were struggles no one could have imagined. In December 2022, the shocking news of his death by suicide sent ripples of heartbreak across the world. How could someone so vibrant, so full of life, be gone so suddenly? This tragedy was only the beginning. Nearly 2 years later, Twitch's widow, Allison stepped forward with revelations about their life together, secrets that would forever change the narrative of his legacy. But her words didn't just spark understanding, they ignited controversy, backlash, and even conspiracy theories. Family members began speaking out, allegations flew, and what began as a tragic loss spiraled into public drama. So what really happened? Why is the family at odds? And are the accusations against Allison just baseless noise, or something darker? Before we dive into the heart of the chaos, let's start where it all began, with the life and untimely death of Steven "Twitch" Boss. Steven was a symbol of energy, creativity, and optimism. From his jaw-dropping performances on So You Think You Can Dance to becoming the beloved DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, Twitch inspired millions with his talent and warmth. He seemed unstoppable, professionally thriving, a devoted father to 3 children, and deeply in love with his wife, Allison. But on December 13th, 2022, the unimaginable happened. News broke that Twitch had died by self-deletion, stunning fans and friends alike. The world was left grappling with questions. How could someone so full of life choose to leave it behind? The details were haunting. Twitch was found in a motel room just miles from his family home, with a note hinting at challenges he had kept hidden. His death became a somber reminder that even those who seem the happiest can be battling demons no one can see. Public mourning was swift and overwhelming. Celebrities, fans, and loved ones shared tributes, each one painting a picture of a man who gave so much of himself to others. Yet, amidst the collective grief, the spotlight began to turn toward those closest to him, especially his widow, Allison. In the months that followed, whispers of unanswered questions began to surface. What were the struggles Twitch was dealing with, and what role, if any, did those around him play in the turmoil he faced? As Allison stepped forward to share her side of the story, the narrative shifted, and so did the public's perception. What she revealed next would not only divide his fans, but also fracture his family. Let's look at Allison's shocking revelations and how they lit the match for a growing firestorm. In January 2025, Allison, Steven "Twitch" Boss's widow, broke her silence in an interview with People magazine. It was the first time she opened up in detail about their life together and the painful aftermath of his death. But this wasn't just a tribute to her late husband, it was a bombshell. Allison revealed that after Twitch's passing, she had discovered a side of him she never knew existed. Hidden in their home were drugs she had no idea he had been using, along with journal entries that exposed the weight of his hidden trauma, including childhood sexual abuse. For many, this revelation painted a heartbreaking picture of a man silently battling demons while projecting strength and joy to the world. Allison explained that her intention was to shed light on the struggles he faced, to help others who might be dealing with similar challenges. Her forthcoming memoir, This Far My Story of Love, Loss, and Embracing the Light, promised to delve deeper into their shared journey and her healing process. But while some praised her courage and transparency, others were not so kind. Critics, and even some of Twitch's closest family members, questioned her motives. Was she truly honoring her late husband's memory, or was she exploiting his struggles to promote her book? These questions quickly spiraled into heated debates online and within Twitch's own family. What started as Allison's effort to share her truth became the catalyst for a bitter family feud, as Twitch's mother, Connie Boss Alexander, stepped forward with her own version of events. Tensions exploded. Next, we'll uncover the fiery backlash from Twitch's family and the shocking allegations they've leveled against Allison. Allison Holker's revelations didn't just shock fans, they enraged Steven "Twitch" Boss's family. Chief among them was his mother, Connie Boss Alexander, who wasted no time in addressing the claims made in Allison's interview. She described the details about hidden drugs and childhood abuse as misleading and hurtful, firmly rejecting the narrative Allison was shaping. For Connie, this wasn't just a difference of perspective, it was an attack on her late son's legacy. But the controversy didn't stop there. Some family members accused Allison of taking control over every aspect of Twitch's memory, including his funeral. According to these claims, she allegedly required family members to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, to to attend his service, effectively silencing their grief. On top of that, they said she had restricted their access to tWitch's children, further deepening the rift between her and his loved ones. These accusations painted a troubling picture, fueling public speculation about Allison's intentions. Was this a grieving widow trying to protect her husband's memory, or was she isolating his family and rewriting his story to suit her own? The accusations became a lightning rod for debate, dividing fans and amplifying the family's pain. For her part, Allison defended herself, claiming that everything she'd shared was rooted in love and the desire to help others. But her words did little to quell the growing storm. As tensions boiled over, rumors and conspiracies began to take shape, ones that pointed directly at Allison herself. Next, we'll dive into the wild accusations and unfounded theories surrounding her involvement in tWitch's death, and why they refused to go away. As the drama between Allison Holker and Stephen "Twitch" Boss's family escalated, a darker narrative began to take root online. Whispers turned into wild accusations, with conspiracy theories suggesting that Allison herself might have been involved in her husband's death. The theories range from vague insinuations to outright claims that she had something to gain by orchestrating the tragedy. At the heart of these theories were questions about the timing of Twitch's death, the details in his self-deletion note, and Allison's actions afterward, like the NDAs at his funeral and her memoir's revelations. Social media amplified these suspicions, with armchair detectives speculating on motives and pointing to what they saw as inconsistencies in her story. Despite the lack of credible evidence, these conspiracies gained traction, fueled by emotional fans unwilling to accept the official ruling of self-deletion. In reality, the coroner's report was clear. Twitch's death was the result of self-deletion, with no signs of foul play. Yet, as is often the case in high-profile tragedies, the truth wasn't enough to stop the spread of baseless theories. For Allison, this added another layer of grief, being accused of harming the very person she'd spent years building a life with. But why do these theories persist? Perhaps it's the discomfort of accepting that someone so seemingly happy could take their own life. Or maybe it's the public's insatiable appetite for drama, especially when it involves a celebrity. Whatever the reason, these conspiracies have turned Allison into both a grieving widow and a public target. As the rumors swirl, the public remains divided between those who see Allison as a victim of hate and those who question her every move. But one thing is clear, this tragedy has become as much about public perception as it is about private pain. Next, we'll explore how the public's divided reaction has fueled this ongoing storm. The public's response to the Stephen "Twitch" Boss tragedy and the revelations that followed has been anything but unified. From the moment Allison Holker's interview went public, social media exploded with polarized reactions. Some applauded her for her vulnerability, praising her willingness to share painful truths in an effort to help others. They saw her as a grieving widow, trying to make sense of an unimaginable loss, using her voice to shed light on hidden struggles like mental health and trauma. But not everyone saw it that way. Critics accused Allison of oversharing intimate details about Twitch's life, details he never had the chance to address himself. To them, her decision to reveal his alleged drug use and childhood abuse felt exploitative, especially with her memoir release on the horizon. And then there were those who took sides with Twitch's family, amplifying their claims of exclusion and manipulation. Social media became a battleground. Hashtags like Team Allison and Justice for Twitch trended, with fans dissecting every piece of new information. Many expressed frustration at the public airing of such personal family matters, while others argued that as a public figure, tWitch's life and death would inevitably be subject to scrutiny. This division highlights a larger issue, the blurred line between public and private in the age of celebrity culture. For many fans, their parasocial connection to tWitch made them feel entitled to weigh in, as though they were personally invested in his legacy. This has only deepened the fracture between Allison's supporters and her critics, turning a deeply personal loss into a public spectacle. But was Allison's transparency an act of healing, or a misstep that opened old wounds? To answer that, we'll need to examine the bigger question: when is it okay to share someone else's story, and where do we draw the line? Allison Holker's revelations about Stephen "Twitch" Boss's struggles have sparked a larger conversation. When is it appropriate to share someone else's story, especially after they're gone? For Allison, the answer seems clear. She has said that her decision to speak out was born from a desire to help others, to let people know they aren't alone in their pain, and to find healing by being transparent about her experiences, but not everyone agrees with her approach. Critics argue that sharing intimate details, like Twitch's alleged childhood abuse and drug use, without his consent crosses a moral line. After all, these were deeply personal aspects of his life that he never chose to share publicly. They claim that by revealing them now, Allison risks overshadowing the vibrant, joyful legacy he left behind. On the other hand, supporters contend that these revelations humanize him, reminding the world that even those who seem the strongest can carry invisible burdens. This debate isn't just about Twitch and Allison, it's about a broader societal issue. How do we balance the right to grieve and process loss with the responsibility to protect someone's legacy? Is sharing personal pain a necessary step toward healing, or does it risk exploiting the deceased? These are questions that don't have easy answers, but they're ones that more families are facing in an era where the private lives of public figures often become fodder for public discussion. For Allison, the backlash hasn't stopped her from moving forward with her story, but for Twitch's family, her actions remain a source of pain and anger. Can these wounds ever heal, or is the divide between them too deep to repair? Before we wrap up, let's reflect on the lessons this tragedy offers about grief, family dynamics, and the complications of legacy. The tragedy of Stephen "Twitch" Boss's death and the controversy that followed have brought to light some painful but important truths about grief, legacy, and the complexities of family dynamics. At its core, this story isn't just about one man's untimely death. It's about how the people he left behind are grappling with their pain in a very public spotlight. Grief is never simple. For Allison Holker, her decision to share intimate details about tWitch's struggles may have been an attempt to process her own emotions and help others who might be suffering. But for his family, those same revelations have been a source of anguish, creating a divide that may never fully mend. This highlights a harsh reality. Grief can bring families together, but it can also tear them apart when emotions are raw and perspectives clash. Then there's the question of legacy. Twitch was loved for his joy, talent, and warmth, and many feel that's how he should be remembered. But as new details emerge, his story is becoming more complicated, a reminder that people are rarely as simple as the roles they play in public. Balancing honesty with respect is a delicate line to walk, and in this case, it's clear that not everyone agrees on where that line should be drawn. Ultimately, the story of Stephen "Twitch" Boss and the fallout surrounding his death offers a sobering lesson. Grief is deeply personal, but when a life is lived in the public eye, it rarely stays private. The pain, the questions, and the controversies may linger, but perhaps this tragedy can serve as a reminder to approach these situations with empathy and care. As this chapter unfolds, one question remains: can the wounds within his family ever truly heal, or will this controversy forever overshadow the memory of a man who brought light to so many?